Hello everyone, good evening. So, we're good to go, I guess. Hello. Tutum Carmen, Zion, Alexander, the usual suspects are here already. I am set up the stream quite short notice because I just a couple 2 hours ago I didn't know if we would actually be able to stream at all. So I'm thinking about I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes. Steve from Sweden, hey, 23 degrees today. That sounds rather warm actually. Today it was warm in Germany, but we had some rain coming in the evening, so I think nature can use this, and it's actually great that it's raining now because it was very dry for the whole day. But yeah, we had a couple of rain for the week, some flooding in Germany, but fortunately not where we live. But in other areas we have some. Yeah, definitely have some flooding. What are we doing tonight, my friends? What are we doing? Doing three important things. Going to check out a new project that I'm launching. We are doing a giveaway for May and talking about AI for 3D model generation, which I'm really excited about. So generative AI to create 3D models. I've been looking into that, so we'll talk about that and we'll take a look at some tools that I was just testing out throughout the week, if that's any good. Also want to make this format a little bit more like pre-planned. So for the next couple of weeks, except next week I'm off, so not making any live stream next week. But for foreseeable future, we're gonna have the live stream format in a way that I'm going to prepare some topics, some news in 3D printing, some exciting stuff that I was testing out, and some projects. So we have a good mixture of topics that we want to talk about, products that we want to show, and some exciting news and tools that we want to talk about. So far, I see a couple more people joining GeForces, and we have already quite a few people watching from all over the world. So let me see how we're looking for the live stream now. We get 8 people on YouTube, 5 people on Twitch. Great stuff. We made it to Twitch affiliate status, my friends, which is awesome. And I have added a couple of emojis that you can use with by adding :Daniel, and then you will see all the different emojis, and I will add a couple more over the next weeks. You need an industrial size filament dryer. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have a lot of filament now that is, or we still needs to be put into little bags. Don't have enough plastic bags at the moment to put everything in a bag, but we'll definitely have more vacuum bags for the filaments that are at least more sensitive to humidity. For PLA, it's not that crazy. That's not that critical, but for the other materials like ABS, I already did this, and also for the flex materials and what else? Yeah, some materials that are more sensitive, like some multicolor and stuff. Great. Hammer is there. So let's kick it off. Let's start with a project that I'm starting now, and I want to give some special shout out to my favorite 3D printing shop, because that is, I think it's definitely necessary to give a shout out to 3D Jake, who are sponsoring my next project with the filaments, and they are sponsoring it with their Eco PLA, which is great. I want to thank I want to give a lot of thanks and shout out to 3D Jake for sponsoring the next project, and we're going to talk about this project in a second. But I have been using their filaments, especially with prototyping projects, but I also realized that recently they made some changes to their filament spools. They had been using these wider spools for a while for the 1 kilogram, and those wider spools didn't work with the Bambu Lab AMS system, and now they switched to Bambu Lab suitable spools, which is well appreciated. So it works pretty well now. And the material is actually surprisingly good for the prices. So it's fairly affordable, and they have all kinds of different colors. So that's why I have also reached out to them to see if they want to sponsor a project that I'm starting now, which requires quite a significant amount of filament to be used. And I was like, I could have done it myself, but I was like thinking, hey, why don't we reach out to the brands that we're already using on a day-to-day and ask them if they want to sponsor the project. And that is this here, which is going to be a modular enclosure. I have been on the Kickstarter for this quite a while ago already. I think it was already last year when this was announced, and I think the Kickstarter was already done last year, like end of the year, but I didn't have time to look into this in depth, and started just recently thinking about, okay, let's do this project after I had done the tool wall project, which was also a super huge amount of filament, and some of the filament was also sponsored by 3D Jake, but most of the filament I did pay for myself. And But I think they saw a lot of the stuff that I made and were ready to sponsor this project here. And it looks, I don't know, it doesn't look like that, but it's actually to make an enclosure of this size, you need around about 5 kilogram of filament for the frame, which is going to be basically the same colors as you see it here. So I've decided that I actually like this color combination quite a lot. So I decided to have the silver frame here and some red accent colors and maybe some blue for additional materials, and also some stuff here if we are going for this pegboard. I'm still undecided on the pegboard because I don't like, actually I like the Scottish system more, so I'm probably gonna make a version of it that is using the Scottish slots. And so for the overall project, we'll need 5 kilogram for the silver frame, and we need 3 kilogram for the red parts and everything else. So around about 8 kilogram of PLA material. So it's quite a lot of stuff to print. So you wouldn't actually think about it that it's so much. And I also got the acrylic panels already in, and overall I can tell you that the whole project is not including the print files, which were a lot cheaper on Kickstarter, but including like the print files, we're looking at probably around about 275 euros for everything. And that sounds quite expensive, but if you consider that any other enclosure that is that big, and that's really big because I'm printing the bigger version, any enclosure that's significantly bigger than the Prusa enclosure it's actually fairly affordable if you look at the price for the Prusa enclosure, for example, or any other commercial solution. And what I also like is that a lot of the parts would be reusable if you would switch to, like if you would change the size, or if you want to make it bigger. You probably want the acrylic panels, you would have to replace some of the stuff, but still you could reuse the parts and make it smaller or bigger and adapt it to different kind of needs. So I decided to go with a version that is slightly larger, and we can use it with different printers. So not only the smaller enders, but really also some bigger printers. Probably not bigger than 300 millimeter of build volume, but something around like between the 200-ish printers will be, of course, working, and something up to 300 millimeter of size will still work. And we can feed the filament from outside, so we don't have to think about the spool holder inside. That's going to save us some space, so it's definitely more space above. So if you have a bigger printer, you can just put the spool outside and feed it from outside and have some kind of filament spool system outside. That is what we're looking at. And wheels on it. Well, the thing about this enclosure is that it's not supposed to hold the printer, right? So it's like only if you could theoretically take it off, just put it over the printer, because it has no bottom. You can kind of guess it from this picture. So the printer is still standing on the table, and the enclosure is just basically put over. And you could just remove it by taking it off, or just getting it over the printer, and then you could have move it to another place, or just put it on over another printer or something. So it's fairly easy to do because there is no bottom for the printer, which I think is also not really necessary. Will the X1 fit in it? The X1. The X1 carbon? I don't know. Could be. Actually, the Bambu Labs are pretty small. If you look at this, so if we look at the print files for the smaller, we could check it out. Let me see. Let me double check if I can open this up. Let's see the size calculator. Let me open up the size calculator. So this is the size calculator, and this is for the smaller one, and you can see that for this size of enclosure you have around about 605, 700. So this is actually the bigger one. So this is the size that I'm printing. So if internal size, if you have 60, 60, 70, which is reasonably large, right? So it's like enough for most printers, and should be like, there should be, you can probably fit all the Bambu Labs inside, which is probably the question, why would you want to do it? But you could put a P1P inside if you don't have the enclosure for that printer. So that should work. Yeah, so the other plan that I have for this build is I still need to basically test out the Ender 3v3 long term, right? So we didn't do any long term printing yet on this printer. We did just the unboxing, and the stuff that we printed was very, very limited, and I didn't have the time to test this printer thoroughly yet. However, this is the perfect project for this, because we can probably test round about, like if we run I would say 8 to 10 kilogram of material through this printer, we will have a decent way to tell whether this printer is working or not, or is it suitable for projects, and how reliable is the printer. So running this amount of filament, 8 to 10 kilograms through this printer, will be definitely giving us a good result. So what I will do, although because I've been making this video, if you've seen it on my channel, I've made this video about the Creality nozzles, different unicorn nozzles, and on the K1C I've already installed one and tried out how it works. The same nozzles work on the Ender 3v3. However, and I realized that during my tests of like installing the nozzles here on the Ender 3v3 is that Creality made a different choice of how they mount or fix the unicorn nozzles on the K1C and on the Ender 3v3. And you might not expect that, honestly. So it was a kind of a surprise and unexpected event happening when I did try to unscrew the nozzle from the Ender 3v3 the same way as I did try on the K1C. And what happened is I broke the nozzle in 2 parts. So, and that surprisingly happened, and I did like not understand what was wrong. And I realized doing the unscrewing of the nozzle, and I did it the same way as on the K1C, I realized there's some resistance, and I would say, oh, on the K1C I also had some resistance going on, so I just continued screwing out the nozzle. Then I just had this piece here coming out, which is essentially just kind of a volcano nozzle. And this piece was missing, and I was like wondering, what is happening? Did Creality change the nozzle design? Do I have a pre-production unit? Seriously? And until I understood by looking into the hot end that this part here is still residing in the hot end, and I was like, what happened? And so I started investigating further and figured out that on the Ender 3v3, this nozzle, the whole nozzle, I mean, this we can probably still fix it back together. So it's basically just like we can probably use a hammer and make these parts stick together again, because they're not welded together. I think they are just basically pushed together, or probably just pressed into each other, and there's no like, it's not really like it's not really like soldered together or something, or welded together. It's just pressed together, in my opinion. So we can probably fix that. But what I realized is that inside of the Ender 3v3 hot end, there is a little grub screw that's pressing against this brass ring here. And then you have to unscrew this little grub screw. You have to release it. And then you can start unscrewing the nozzle. And that is nowhere documented, right? This is nowhere written. It's not here is anyway no documentation coming with these nozzles. And there's nothing written anywhere that this is fixed. And it's like basically tightened in place. So I will definitely I reported this back to Creality, and they responded, and they were kind of apologizing and giving, like I said, okay, we're gonna give this feedback to the engineers, and let's see if this does anything. Nevertheless, I think we will not use the grub screw anymore. I think why would we want a grub screw holding this in place? Then it's not like quick swap nozzle system should be quick swappable and not. It shouldn't be necessary to have so much effort going into unscrewing a nozzle. That's why I'm gonna try just to put it in and not using a grub screw at all. Because honestly, why would we need it if we don't need it on the K1C? Why would we need a grub screw on the NF3? This doesn't really make sense. So I'm just gonna simply try without fixing this upper thing and go without it. So my intention is to use the 0.6mm nozzle on the NF3V3 to print all of these parts, because I expect this to accelerate the process of creating it, because it's a significant amount of hours that will go into printing this enclosure project. And yeah, if you plan to put your old A-Net A8 inside that enclosure, side panels need to be fire resistant. That's true. Yeah, we should make a revival video like A-Net A8 Fire Starter Edition in 2024. So, a good one. So, about the NF3V3, again, swapping out the nozzle again, or putting it back in. So my plan is now that we're gonna start printing the first pieces from this project, and then we go on to the next topic. Yeah, and the little grub screw is right here, left on the right hand side of this hot end. There is a grub screw, and it's, for some reason they decided to have it there, and I don't understand why it's needed, because honestly it is, in my opinion, totally unnecessary. Why would you need this? Another problem here in Morlag is that this whole lower section here is kind of moving, and I was wondering why that is. Realized it last time already. On the K1C, that is kind of held in place by I think there is kind of a screw holding it in place, and here we don't have that, and this whole thing is rotating. For some reason, it is, yeah, this ring here is not fixed. The enclosure needs a fire suppression in it. Yeah, probably. So what do we need? I need some tools. At least I need. Not sure if I have the gripper here that would fit. I had it here, but I didn't have it on my, this in my NF3 kit. There should be probably some tools that fit. I'm wondering if it's there. They did put a wrench in there, did they? Oh, they did. They did put a wrench in. Okay, that makes a lot of sense then. Yeah, the thing is with this, just I'm not entirely sure what this, why this is, why we have this part moving. That is a little unclear to me. What is the intention of this to be loose? Because we could easily rip off the cables. So I still have the impression that Creality has to fix some of the stuff here, honestly, right? Because we can bring it to some point where it's fixed and it doesn't move anymore, but then it also, the cable is kind of under stress. On the other hand, it doesn't have to be that much tightened, because we don't have to hot tighten this part. I'm wondering, what can we do? Maybe we should take it out a bit and bring this ring over. So we have some room to turn it by, I don't know, a couple of degrees. Is this possible now? No, it's going to end up in the same, very same position in the end. It's actually worse. Oh my god, Creality, what did you do to this printer? That's the new Ender 3. But yeah, again, I think some design decisions that Creality made on this printer are questionable. For example, the way how decided to fix the nozzle in place. Right, so you can screw it in. It's a quick swappable, as they call it. But the heater part, and this is the heater section, and this is the temperature sensor that's mounted on this brass ring here. And both are kind of movable or turnable, and they are not really fixed in place. And you can essentially just move it around and turn it around like this. And the question that I had from the beginning, even when I started unscrewing the nozzle, is why is this not fixed in any, like, why is it not fixed in place? Probably that is the reason why Creality had to make this kind of compromise to fix the nozzle here with a little grub screw. Because if you want to tighten it to the very end of the thread, the cables here will come under tension. And I'm not sure if this is good or not. My best guess is this is not the best thing. So if we end up here in this position, we can tighten it. It's okay, and the cable is still, yeah, it's long enough. But again, I'm not very happy about how this is ending. So we can now put the heat suck over. And this will be in my review for the Creality nozzles on this printer. I'm definitely going to mention that there is issues that Creality needs to address, because otherwise I see that people are going to struggle and destroy stuff. Honestly, this is super, like, there is so many, like, if you have this kind of design, my best guess is that a lot of people will break the nozzles in two pieces, as I did, because they are forgetting about this little grub screw in the first place. Second mistake that they're gonna make, probably when tightening the nozzle, that they're gonna, I don't know, forget about the grub screw. I'm not doing it intentionally, so I'm not using it. But again, you can make at least two mistakes here and render your printer unusable. Right? So this is my prediction, what's going to happen for quite a few people. Now, to be honest, probably 99% of you will never change the nozzle on this printer, because it is at least less likely to clog because of the different design. So I'd say probably a lot of you will never have this problem, but if you ever have to take the nozzle out or replace it, or you want to get a bigger nozzle diameter, you will have to be super careful about the process. And that's going to be in my other video, because I was expecting this to be identical for the K1C and the V3, and it is really different. And you need to be more, I think you need to be more careful on the NF3 V3, because there is kind of these little pitfalls there to not break any stuff. So next up, we are going to create a slicer profile in Orca Slicer for this printer, because that was my second revelation in the K1C video, or my revelation basically about Creality Print, that Creality Print is actually not really supporting different nozzle diameters yet on any printer. So if you have a K1C or the NF3 V3 or any other printer and you want to switch to a different nozzle diameter, it's simply not, there's no way to create a working profile yet. Yeah, we want to upgrade the firmware. Didn't turn on this printer for a while, and so there is basically not at least currently not working to switch to a different diameter by creating a new printer, as it's actually supposed to work. And so what you have to do in Creality Print, you have to switch, you have to change all the settings for the 0.4 millimeter profile and change everything to 0.6. But then you're ending up with all of the settings changed. And if you decide to go back to 0.4, you would have to also change everything back to 0.4. And it's not, I think it's not just it's not the way how it should be, right? So it should be simple to switch between nozzle diameters. Good, good. I see quite a few comments. Check out K1C. I'm waiting to see any design updates, but overall it's probably what I will get next. Yeah, Creality just, I think they just announced the multicolor K2 Max, which could be like, it's probably a K1C, a bigger K1C with an AMS system to print multicolor. And it could be interesting. The question is, what is the price point of the printer? Is it actually affordable compared to Bamboo Lab? And what are the downsides, right? What are you actually getting? Because honestly, I'm still using my Bamboo Labs for production and mass, like small batches. So I am very happy with Bamboo Labs. I personally see no reason to switch for the multicolor printers. And for most part, I also don't see a reason why to switch to any other brand for that at the moment, unless there is a very, very good reason to do so. Good. Alexander's still using old NF3, upgraded a lot, but I'm after the Core XY closed printer. Yeah. I see. The question is, why are you going for enclosure? I think you could also go very well with a non-enclosed Core XY, like P1P, or even the new Sovol SVO8. Which also doesn't have an enclosure by default, and you also need to, you really need to answer yourself the question, why do you need the enclosure, and is the materials that you're printing this is really necessary, right? If you need ABS, then yeah, that's good. Then you definitely want to look into some enclosed printer, for sure. Why take the Bambu Lab as a baseline? Why? Honestly, I mean, we have to take something as the baseline. I think we should, if we look at an enclosed 3D printer with a multicolor system that is also supposed to print abrasive materials, we need to take the Bambu Lab as the baseline because that's the standard, right? That is the printer that was first on the market. So, and it's like, it is simply working, right? So of course it sets the bar, honestly. So if you're ready to lower your expectations, or you're like pushing for the price and say, I want something cheaper that does exactly the same, you also have to ask, like, is this actually happening, and what are the compromises, right? Thank you, Spine, for subscribing with Prime. Thank you a lot. Very much appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the channel. Yeah, great conversations. I think that you need to tell your wife that you can never have too many printers. That, I think I'm over that already. I have too many printers. I probably have a problem myself that I have too many printers and I have to get rid of some printers. That's why we're here. We also have to do some giveaways because it's just getting too much. It's really getting I have a space problem, so I really have to get rid of some printers because 10 printers or something, 10 plus 3D printers is definitely too much because you cannot use 10 plus printers if they are completely different. That doesn't make sense. So at some point this year, I decided that I will consolidate my print farm to one brand, which is Bambu Lab, right? So all of the printers in a print farm are going to be Bambu Lab printers because they're like simply the workhorses. And I'm not looking at them so much, right? So I just send the stuff over, they print, they are like, it's working. I'm not thinking about it. And for all of the rest experiments and fun stuff, I'm going to use the latest printers that I get. But if I have something to print, like a huge batch of 3D cases or computer cases, like recently I had to do another 35 batch of the cases, which are like resulted in how much kilogram? I think it was 25 kilogram of material that I had to print in 2 weeks. Then I was definitely going to the Bambu Labs. Oh, Inkmin want to know. Hey, welcome to the stream. Welcome. And thanks for coming and watching. So, how about the firmware update? Is it done? Let me check. Let me check if the firmware update is done. After, yes. Go. Do the auto leveling. We need to do the auto leveling anyways because swapping the nozzle also means you have to do it all over again. And I'm really curious how it is going to turn out. So anything else? I think I'm missing my spool holder on this printer. Where is it? Here. So when I have that, easy to mount. And then we will take the first spool of 3D Jake Eco PLA Silver Edition and create a little profile in Orca Slicer for this. Spline got another 2 broken anycubic vipers at the weekend for 75 pounds. Oh my goodness. Just use the rep manual as a baseline. Creality not happy. Yeah. Well, Creality is probably not going to be super happy about this, but on the other hand, I think they are very well aware that this is where they are competing, right? So, printer is currently doing its vibration calibration, which creates some noise. So this person broke 2 anycubic wipers because they didn't know how to use it. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Have you clippered a Bamboo Lab yet? No, not really. I know there's a software modification that you can, at least you can tweak it a little and unlock some features, but I think it's not really completely changing everything. It's more like an add-on to the printer that is working on top of the existing firmware. Yeah, ripping out the mainboard is probably not what I'm supposed to do on the Bamboo Lab. Good. Next up, we want to install our tool set here on the printer. I'm going to show you briefly how I'm doing this. Once this is done, calibration is done. Hopefully soon. Oh, we're not done yet. We're still doing the input shaping, okay? So let's wait for that. So we have a couple steps to do. First of all, after this is done, I will install the Creality helper script. If you know what that is, it is a script that we will basically root the printer. We're gonna SSH into the printer as a terminal. We are going to install the Creality helper script, which is an open source script. That script is going to install a couple of other tools on the printer, like Moonraker, Mainsail, and a couple of other things that are basically gonna open up the printer in terms of Klipper and other utilities that are not coming with the printer. And that's gonna make it possible for us to use Orca Slicer with the printer, right? Normally you can only use Creality Cloud on Creality Print over the Wi-Fi. And if you want to use this printer with any other software on your network, you will have to install the script. Oh my goodness, it's getting so loud. So in that regard, why mention Bamboo Lab is the baseline. Yeah, we don't have to mention that. I think everyone knows that what the competition looks like. So I see. Yeah, we're gonna run through the script. I'm gonna show you the script. The script works. The script works with the KE, the NR3V3, the K1C, the K1, and the K1 Max, with some slight differences. Slight differences. Just gonna post this here in the chat. This is the website that I'm looking at, and we're gonna go through it in a second. This is the tool that I'm using to install a lot of additional features on this printer. We can even, and that was recently added, we can even replace the screen UI completely with something that you're probably more used to if you're using Klipper. So we can use Klipper screen basically on this printer and replace the... We can also disconnect this printer from Creality Cloud, so completely make it only local using the tool. So there is lots of stuff that you can do using the script if you want to tinker. And if you just want to revert, you can just reset your printer to the factory settings, and then you're back to stock. Good. Let's see. Is this done now, or what are we doing? Still waiting for the finish. Okay. Hey, old man, Porphyrius. Long time no see. Please explain the baseline. Well, I mean, the discussion was around if Creality brings out a new printer that is basically one-on-one competing with the Bamboo Lab K1C with the AMS. Well, the thing is, baseline means for me, we have a known printer that has been here on the market for 2-ish years, that has all the features that you need from a multicolor printer, at least from what I would say. And it has a given price point, and you want to come to the market and have something competing. I would say the printer that does it already and has been established is kind of the baseline. And that's why I think that's how I see it. If you have different opinion, then go ahead and shoot. Right? And that's how it is. That's what people will tell you. If they come to the market and the reviews are gonna come in, I think that's what basically it's gonna be measured against. Because if it's even that expensive, then you need to even more ask the question: if the price point is kind of identical, is it better? Is it doing at least the same thing? What are the results? And because if you're in a market for a 1000 plus 3D printer, you're gonna be more sensitive to these kind of things than you're just spending $200, and you want to make small compromises, of course, right? Yeah. I would get K1C, it costs more, but also limited a lot of problems you may have as a beginner. Yeah, I agree. The K1C is definitely more actually round in terms of what it can do. It can print more materials. It has this enclosure. You can add a filter to it because there's a fan at the back. So you can potentially print also materials that have toxic vapors. So that's at least more suitable for that. And I think from like a beginner-friendly design, it is very much not that great of a difference between these two printers, right? So you can use the same software, and the UI is the same, and a lot of the steps that you need to do are the same. It's from that perspective not that different. So what the printer is doing now is first layer calibration, and that's going to heat up the nozzle. And since we swapped out the nozzle, this is good because we want this to be recalibrating. And if there's a slight difference in height of the nozzle tip, because we have a new nozzle now, that's what we need to do now. That's why we need to recalibrate anyways. So in Orca Slicer, what I like to do is, first of all, I want to understand quickly, do we have a new nightly build? Potentially a nightly build that supports. I have installed 2.0 official release, but I guess I'm not sure if it supports the Ender 3 v3 already. 0.268 and fix small Ender 3 Pro bug. It could be working with the Ender 3. I'm not sure. I think it's not the same. We could probably get away with using the Ender 3 v3 KE profile and modify that. But I'm curious if we can also, if we just go for the latest nightly version, if we already have some support for the Ender 3 v3 natively. Otherwise, we're going to go for a KE and we're going to modify it to our needs. Because it's also running Klipper, it's probably very... Yeah, the KE was already... Like, KE is definitely available. I'm just curious if they added the v3 to a later development build. Yes. Let's go. No, I don't want to uninstall. We want to have this in parallel. Nightly build. So let's see if we can already see this printer there. So, Orca. That is, the question is now, which one do we run? No. Windows installer, I think we need to run this manually now to know that we have the right thing selected. Program files. Nightly. So let's briefly launch this dev version and see whether we have the Ender 3 v3 already. Orca slicer, I think it... we can check it out, actually. We'll see it in a second. Does it support... Yeah. It's blocked. We don't need the bamboos. I think it's not supported here. We can take a look. There is a list of printers. This should be available here. So, my friend, are you ready? Okay, it looks like it's done. So, printer is done with the calibration. The question was, does it support resin printers? I am not so sure. At least, so quickly looking at this list, there is no resin printers here. Yeah, probably not. So let's look for the V3. Yes, it is here. It is here. Okay, so that's great. So we're gonna take this one. So it's gonna be in the next release, most likely. So this is the dev version of Orca Slicer, the nightly build 2.10, which is the next version, most likely. And it is going to go here, and it will definitely have the Ender 3 v3 available here. So we have the 0.6. I don't know why they didn't add the 0.8 nozzle yet, but yeah, that's probably not a huge issue. That's something that you can add yourself, because it's just a preset. But let's go with the 0.6. We have the 0.6 nozzle, and we have a textured PI plate, which is Creality generic PLA. We can go with that, and probably a bigger nozzle diameter. Makes sense that we go with 0.3, which should be suitable and good enough for the prints that we are doing. because we're not looking at high quality. We're just looking for speed. And double checking all the settings, I think it's good. We have 0.6 line width. Not touching stuff yet, we'll optimize things later. We have strength, wall loop 3, top shell layer. We need to check the print settings for the project quickly. But next up, we want to connect to this printer. We want to do some test prints. Thing is, how do we connect to the printer now? Because the printer is not visible. It's on the network. We can check it out. It should be there. Let me see. What's the IP? I have to check actually on the display. What is the IP? Network 106. Okay. So we can find it, and what we get here is the Creality UI. And the problem with that is standard, and we cannot connect to this printer now with Orca Slicer, at least not yet. So we enter the IP address here. We'll get a problem, we'll get an error. So it's not found. So 404. Now what you need to know is, since we upgraded the firmware, probably lost all of the stuff. I'm not sure if it's still working. No, it's not working anymore. So if you do a firmware upgrade on the printer, you're losing your modifications in terms of Klipper. That's also something to know. What we need to do now is we need to connect to the printer, and what is happening? Oh, I see. The temperature readout starts. So what we need to do is we need to basically root the printer, jailbreak the printer, and then install the helper script. We want to do root at 106. And if that is not working, that means we have to go to the display or to the touch screen, and we need to figure out the password. And that's going to be identical for all Ender 3 v3s, but it's going to be different between the K1C, the K1, and any other printer. So I think it's going to be expert mode. I'm not sure. Is it expert mode? Root account information. Here we go. So this is what you're looking for. Root account information. Yes, I've been reading this, and we need to wait 30 seconds. And after 30 seconds, it will tell us the username and password. That is not a secret, but you have to acknowledge that before you can get to log into the printer. And once you have acknowledged this message, it will open the terminal session for us. But again, if you're using a different printer like the KE or the K1C or the K1, the password and username might be different, right? So it's definitely depending on the model of the printer and the firmware. Okay, so Creality, you see, this is again a different password. Creality _ Ender 3 v3. And on the other printers, it has been something different. So, yes. So, see now is this working? We get the connection. Creality Ender 3 v3. And we are logged in. So, now we are logging into this printer's operating system, Linux. And now we're looking at the script here. The script is going to help us to install stuff. Now, basically what we see here, the creator Guyos, or how he's called, Guyos, he already adapted his guide to different printers, because it's not only working on the K1 series, but it's also working on the V3. And that's great. And the helper script is something that we want to install. And there is all kind of guides. We're going to go through a couple of the things, not everything, of course. And we want to install the script first. First of all, we need to download the script to the printer, and we need to install it. And if that's rocket science to you, please apologize, because this is more like Linux administration stuff and not so much what you're probably used to. So first of all, what we want to do, we are logged into the printer. And what this first command does is going to download the script into in a specific directory. And from there, we're going to run the script. So just going to copy this. Git clone means we're downloading the source code from Git, which is an open source code repository. So it's cloning this a couple of files into this directory, and then we can run the script. And then you will see what we have available in terms of features that we can now unlock for this printer. We're looking for some very specific features, right? So we're going to run a shell script, user data, helper script, scripts, or helper sh. So once we run this, you see there is a nice menu here, and it also detected, this is new actually. So it detected we have a different printer type here. If you previously didn't make a difference between wasn't any difference between the Ender 3 KE or the V3 and the K1, but now Guyos made some adaptations to the script, so detecting the right printer and making some different choices here. So first one, it also mentions only use with the latest firmware version, super important. And you will have to run this again if you install a new firmware version after the fact. You will have to do this one more time, because it's going to override the changes that we're now making. Cyril Guyos. Okay. So install menu. First thing to know, what do we want? What I want is Moonraker. Moonraker is the foundation that we can install some kind of UI, right? And some APIs that are being used by Klipper mainsail UI. So you see, we need, if we want to install any of these two things here, Fluid UI or mainsail UI, which is basically just a graphical browser-based user interface for Klipper, very similar to Creality UI, Creality Print. It's just running on the printer, and it's not going to go away. It's going to still be available. But if we need any of those, mainsail or Fluid, we need also Moonraker. And that's going to open up the remote connectivity for Walker Slicer or any other remote app that you want to use, right? You can, from that point on, we will be able to use mobile apps that are also able to connect to I think it's, yeah, basically working with all Klipper versions. So you can use any Klipper remote control app from that point on. So we want to install Moonraker first. Yes. And then we're going to install Mainsail OS. That's up to you. If you want to use Fluid or Mainsail, I prefer Mainsail. So I'm going to see in a second what this actually means. So a bunch of scripts. And Moonraker is basically just a foundation API layer that actually makes it possible that any other app can control Klipper. So let's see. If you use the script, does it take away the warranty of the machine? Not really, because you can always revert back to default. It's if you just reset your printer to stock, it's going to be not recognizable that this was installed. But of course, if you do some weird modifications and you run your printer into the ground, so to say, or you crash your printer, I don't know what Creality is gonna do, but they also have this warranty. Like they mention, okay, what you do from here on, if you open the root account, is up to your responsibility, honestly. So next step, we want to install mainsail. We're adding this user interface. This is now what we can do. We can connect to the same IP, adding 4409, the port. And this is very familiar to the ones of you that have been using Klipper or mainsail. Now, this is the new Klipper UI that we just installed on the NFB v3. And why I like it so much is, if you compare to Creality's UI, at first sight these look similar. So you have a lot of the stuff controls like homing button, temperature setting here, right? So we also have the same here. We also can print from the previous files and stuff. So that's all very much the same. What is different is you have more control over certain things like settings, right? While the printer is running, you see here, this is not changing, right? So you don't get any different menu items once you are printing here. But here you can already change velocity settings, acceleration settings, corner velocity settings, speed factors, extrusion factors, blah, 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 pressure advanced settings. You have access to all of the Klipper macros that are coming with the printer, and any other additional printer macros that you might create yourself or that might be added in a later step using the tool, enabling or disabling the filament sensor, blah, blah, blah. So there is so much stuff that you can change just in this very screen. And you can also see, while the printer is running, the current speed, the current acceleration, the current flow rate. And flow rate specifically you can't see, like that's all data that you can't see on the default UI. So this is not visible to you, right? So there's much more data that you can see. And then finally you can have the console, where you can send commands manually. So you can send the printer to, okay, let's go G28, let's do a homing, right? Or anything else that you want to execute. You can see the height map, which is basically the mesh bed leveling results, which takes now a couple of seconds because it's now homing, so it's not going to show it until the homing is done. Let's see how long this takes. Come on. Here we go. So this is the height map. Looks weird, but yeah, that's probably how it is. And we have a couple of probing points. You see also the size of the map is 5 by 5. So if I would say now, hey, I want to have a higher resolution map, more points that to be probed, view cannot change anything here in this original UI, but we can go and look at the machine tab here, and we could go to the printer config, and we have all of the files available now that are coming with Klipper and that Creality has modified, and we go in and modify stuff, right? We can say, okay, I want my mesh, which is somewhere, let me see where they put this. Here we go, bed mesh. Right, this is very small. Let me make it bigger. So we have bed mesh settings, right? And for example, here we see 5 by 5 points. We could now change it to 7 by 7 and save it and just do it, right? So we could change anything. And that's also the big advantage, by the way, why Klipper is in my opinion, is the better system for tweaking stuff, because you can just make this change now, and where in Marlin you had to compile the firmware and install a new firmware on the printer, here we just save this text file and we're good to go. So nothing, like we don't have to reinstall anything on the printer. It's just going to restart and that's it. Ads are still on. I'm pretty sure that it disabled ads, which is very strange. Very strange. This is weird. So when I'm not changing anything here, just demonstrating you what you can do. So let's go back a little bit. So that's Klipper UI, right? So that's Moonraker plus mainsail. And now in the script, that's basically everything that we would need. We wouldn't need so much more, right? So honestly, this is, for now, this is probably good enough. And then we can have installed Klipper adaptive meshing and perching, which is, for example, setting the probing area to the print area, which normally isn't working with Creality's software. So it only will probe inside of the print area, not probing outside, which makes more sense. And then improving shaper calibration, some more useful macros, and blah, blah, blah. So there's time-lapse, Moonraker time-lapse, Nebula camera setting control, USB camera support. One thing, for example, that is now available, which wasn't available by default, you cannot use any other webcam than Creality's Nebula camera. With this tool, you can now use different webcams. Right? If you have any webcam lying around that you're not using, you can enable the USB camera support for like the third-party webcams here. Then we have a bunch of other things that are available now. Octo Everywhere, Moonraker Obico, GuppyFlow. GuppyFlow is a screen UI that will replace the screen UI on the touchscreen with Klipper UI, right? Which is amazing because it also enables you to use more features and stuff. Octo app, Simple Printer. There's so many add-ons that it's too much to talk about in detail, but basically you can open this printer up and enable all kinds of different features that you probably want, which is amazing. And we don't want to forget that Creality has enabled this, and they basically open sourced this, right? Because they open sourced their own firmware, which you probably have, I see the obligation also because they're using open source for this printer. But it's good that they did this and they enabled this in terms of making the printer open and available to modify. Good. Okay, so that's it. What we need now is we need this address here, and we want to copy this into Orca Slicer. Instead of just 106 SDIP, we want to use the additional port 4409. And now we should get a connection to Octoprint. So Octoprint emulation is what we're using here. So if you have an Octoprint client application, that will also work here, right? So you can use any Octoprint client app to connect. So now we could print through the new Klipper UI, and we can use Orca Slicer to print remotely. So let me put in the new filament. I'm gonna feed in the filament that we want to use for this project, at least for the silver parts. And we want to quickly print maybe a test tube, just to make sure that we have the nozzle settings correct for the 0.6 millimeter printing, and then we're good to go for the project. So let's see. Silver PLA. Yes, Andriam 3D. I'm using the GUIS tool. I'm printing a hammer. I just had to sit through an ad before getting back to the stream. That's weird because on Twitch, I'm 100% sure I disabled ads. I was just checking in my monetization tab and it says ads are disabled. And running automatically ads is disabled. And I'm also disabled pre-roll ads. What are stream display ads? No idea. Stream display ads. What is a stream display ad? I don't know. Yeah. So this tool that I was mentioning and showing is working really, really well. So we can now send some stuff to the printer. I just wanna probably do the filament change first. So extrude. So let's see, heating up. So again, want to thank. Is this working? I think. Are we feeding or are we not feeding? That's a good question. Probably not. Now it's working. Okay. So the question is it already enough or do we need to feed more? Because we want to get rid of the blue filament for sure. Probably we need to do a little more. Okay, so cleaning that part. And I'm preparing a little test cube here, 10 by 10 or 20 by 20, and we're just gonna send it over in a second. Yeah, this is good. Definitely can feel already that it's thicker than the 0.4, so it's definitely noticeably bigger filament diameter. Great. Yeah, thanking again 3D Jake for sponsoring the filament for our little enclosure project. So if you didn't see that yet, what we're doing now is I'm printing the first part of this project here, which is my, let's say for the next couple of weeks, the project that I want to do and finish. So that's an interesting enclosure project that I stumbled upon last year, so that I want to finish it now. I have basically all of the parts here now, all of the acrylic panels and the hardware. So we are now supposed to do the printing, and this is also supposed to be my long-term test project for this printer. So in the end, I'm going to be able better to tell you is this printer any good for longer and more intense printing over a period of several weeks probably. So that's why I chose this project. Okay, so what we want to do now, we want to find, first of all, we want to do the test print here from Orca Slicer. So you see, I have prepared, this is very simple, just a cube to make it quick. Now we can go and slice it and print it and send it to the printer. That's without Creality Cloud. Some of you will probably appreciate that because we can go directly through the Wi-Fi connection to the printer using Orca Slicer. We could also use Brucer Slicer, or we could also use Cura, because they all support Octoprint, and Octoprint is the connection protocol that's used. And so that's making it very easy to use this printer now from any other slicing program, which would be very difficult. Otherwise, you would have to use the USB stick and stuff, which is probably not what you really want. So let's make sure we have filament in the right spot. So we let this print cube, the test cube will let this print. We'll see how it looks. If we have at least a decent result, and then I'll currently in the meanwhile, I'm going to ready my first part for this project, which is going to be corner parts, which we want to start printing first. So probably want to switch. Why no Benchy? Now, because we did this last time, and I'm not gonna prove the printer's print speed in this case. I'm just gonna test out Orca Slicer, the profile, if it works, if the settings are correct, and then we're gonna immediately go to print the first part for the project. So today's is not the purpose of testing a Benchy. So actually what I'm going to print next is this part, which is fairly large. That is the first corner for the enclosure, and from this part you can already tell these parts are going to be quite large, and this is only the first part, and there's going to be dozens of parts that are similar, so filling quite decently the bed size. Only thing that we have to do is we need some support here, some minimalistic support here. We want to do it right here. I was reading the instructions previously. So we need a little bit of support here. And the rest is support free, and the other section where we need support is here. So I want to paint some support on here as well. That is mostly everything that we need. So support, we can enable support, but style, I think normal and manual. So that means we're only using the manually painted supports, and that should give us only support in the given regions, and anything else is basically support free. We also want to disable brims. No brim. And that's it. And that should be already enough to print this part on the end of week 3. And print time is 2 hours 47 minutes. So that's why I said this project is going to take quite a while to finish, because we have from this we have four parts. We have another, I think we have in summary we probably have 100-ish parts for this whole thing. So a couple hundred hours of printing. 3D Jake could should do the character on the box as a print. Interesting idea, actually. Maybe we should have some kind of model for that. I can ask them. So now we're just doing the little cube to see whether we have the settings right for the 0.6 nozzle. And if anything else, like first layer, adhesion and stuff is working correctly. So this is what I'm currently looking at. But it looks good. So far, it seems that it's printing. Okay, seems that the cube print is working. What we also need to double check is the recommended print settings. I'm quickly doing that while we are waiting for this to finish. Wanna check out the recommendations for layers and wall settings and stuff. So let me do that first. Recommended settings, 15% infill, 2 shells. I think we're good. That we're actually using 3 shells. Maybe we can reduce it. Wall loop 3, I think. How much of a difference does it make? 148 gram versus 157. So it's a bit more. So I would go for 3 shells. So question here from Mad Scientist. I know I can Google it, but does the Ender 3v3 have dual Z motors? Yes, it has a Core XZ system. If you want to check it out, Core XZ. That means you have 2 motors driving the Z-axis and the X-axis, and they work together. Like it's basically just a tilted Core XY printer. So if you take the Core XY gantry and put it up, like put it 90 degrees tilted upwards or vertical, so to say. You take the Core XY and put it vertical. That's how it looks like, right? Of course, the nozzle is pointing downwards, but like basically the frame and like how this is driving the movement is a Core XY vertical, right? And so potentially the printer can move faster, or it has more power, motor power available to move the printhead horizontally, because that's done by 2 motors. Like 2 motors are driving the printhead from left to right, and so it can potentially move it faster. But the thing is, with the print bed, it's only 1 motor still. And I'm not sure if it's more powerful. The belts are also not wider in a way, so probably the limitation on this printer is still bed movement and not so much the head. But yeah, let's take a look at the layers. I think we're fairly good here. Let's bring maybe let's bring the camera a little closer. Come on. Klipper, yes. Mad Scientist printer is running Klipper. Definitely. Would have thought that the Y motor would have 2, as when you have a bigger print on it, the Y would need the extra power to move the weight. Looks great and clean so far. Yeah, I think you're right. We should have dual Y motors. I'm not sure if you have seen this. I'm gonna show you something. I'm not sure if I'm gonna find it quickly enough, but I have a video here that is, I'm not sure if I can find it in a minute, but possibly. That is about a printer that you might want to take a look at. It's an interesting project, but I've completely forgot where the project, which is the website. I'm gonna find out. I think it's somewhere here in my recent videos list. Let me see. Here we go. This is a channel that you should all take a look at. The LH Stinger. If you ever seen a printer faster than this, a bed slinger printer that is faster, I don't know, it's impossible. It's just crazy. It is so crazy. It is, yeah, it's from my point of view, the fastest bed slinger that I've ever seen. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is insane. So maybe check it out at some point. Bookmark this and make it your next project. You mean the Benchy print file for the LH Stinger? Does he have this somewhere? Not sure. Does he have something about it here? Prototyping, blah blah blah. I don't know if he has a Benchy test here. Does he? Yeah, probably want to check it out. I think for the NF3v3, the last Benchy time was kind of 13-ish minutes, 13, 14 minutes. So it is not the fastest Benchy, but reasonably fast. It's actually a little faster than the default Benchy that was coming with the K1C. So that is already quite a respectable result. Okay, so the cube looks clean. Honestly, very clean. I'm happy. So I think we're good to go for the bigger print. Settings are correct. And we have 15% infill, which is fine. So we should be good to go printing this other thing here. And yeah, worth mentioning that again, what can you see on this new mainsail UI? For example, things like current speed and flow rate, right? So if you're interested in these kind of values and say, okay, I want to know, I've set the printer to print, I don't know, for a specific print speed. What is the actual print speed? What is really going to happen here? You will see the real final results and not what you might have set in the slicer software. If you sent, I don't know, to 500 millimeter per second print speed, and then your flow rate limits you from going faster, then it is it's much easier to see these kind of values here in mainsail versus Creality UI. But that's why I prefer to have this over the default UI. Okay. So we're gonna wait for the cube to finish. We're gonna measure it, see whether we have reasonable dimensions, and we can potentially also print faster. I guess we can like push the prints. Like I'm going to create a Orca slicer profile that is going to be a little faster, I guess. probably limited by some settings, and we should figure out the max flow rate for this material maybe. Exactly. The details are really important if you really want to push the printer to the limits. That's the point. You need that information to see what is actually happening here, because if you don't see it, there's no way that you can tell whether you're limited by the flow rate or you're limited by the print speeds, or if it's the acceleration that limits you. It's very difficult to really see that. Okay, so cube is done. Let's take a look at the cube. I mean, looks fairly accurate. Still, we want to take a look with the caliper. If we have dimensions that are working. So, what was the original size of the cube? It was 20 millimeters. So we should have 20 millimeter cube dimensions, at least somewhere close to that. I hope so, at least. Or what was the default? Let me double check. File, new window. Can I open a new window in Orca Slicer? I don't want to go back. Okay, let me launch it second time. Let's see if step values are correct. And first of all, I want to see what the original cube was. I forgot. I basically forgot this and didn't save the project. So let's create a new project. Ender3D3 blah blah. We have this simple add primitive cube. What are the dimensions? Scale. Size 22, 22, 22. Wow, that's weird. I was kind of expecting 20, but it's 22, 22, 22 millimeters. So you would be like fooled into thinking it's totally off. Because I was just looking at the caliper and was like, why is it 22? Is it really that much off? But it's actually 22. So 22, okay, it looks good. 22, 22, and 22. So pretty much, yeah, it's like 2179 height, but that is a little squished. The first layer is a little bit squished, so it might be that. But X dimension is 21.95 and 2205. So yeah, close enough, I would say. Close enough. For this type of project, a 0.5 millimeter difference. Is it 0.05? Sorry, 0.05 millimeter difference is probably good enough. Okay, 0.05. Great. So this we don't need anymore. And we can now kick off this print, and then we'll do our little giveaway, because then we can basically just wait for forever for this to finish. This takes 3 hours now, and I want to see the first huge thing coming from this printer. So I'm just gonna leave it running. What we want to do now, yeah, 2179 in terms of height, 2195 X and 2205 Y. So I guess quite okay. I would like, there's a better calibration than a cube. If you have seen this, there's actually much better calibration prints. That made much more sense, and you can come much closer to the final values. But the problem with that is you always need to do this for every single filament type you're using, for every temperature setting you're changing. You need to do this again, because shrinking and different materials have different factors. So it's not only about steps, it's really also about material and shrinking. And if I would measure this in an hour, this could be different because PLA is also shrinking and other materials are shrinking more. So it's not only about steps, it's really also really material that has different factors in terms of after the fact shrinking. That is something that people sometimes forget, that, for example, ABS has a bigger tendency to shrink after finishing the print, and if you don't let stuff cool down, you will not get the real sizes unless it's really cooled down completely. So it's really a lot of different factors going into the size. So we have started this print. Next up, we want to do the giveaway drawing, and I want to remind everyone now that it's time now to enter your nozzles. What is the giveaway? If you did forget, we can, on Twitch, we can go to the chat and say giveaway. Last chance to take a look. This month we're going to give away the Atomstack A5 Pro laser engraver. And how it works is in the link. And we have, we're gonna go to our stream elements giveaway and check out how many people have already entered. So still only 3 people have entered. Gonna make the open up the public page. So this is our public website. For the current giveaway. So if you want to participate in the giveaway for the Atomstack A5 Pro laser engraver, you have to enter your tickets that you are earning, or you're earning nozzles during the live streams, and then you can use them later on giveaways if you want, and in the future probably on other stuff. So you can now say ticket max, right, or tickets max. Both commands should work. So you see it also here. I think it was here, ticket max, right? Ticket max, you're throwing in all of your nozzles. If you want to know how many you have, you can also check with nozzles how many you have, and then you can decide whether you want to put everything in, or you want to like just keep using a specific number of nozzles. So you can also say ticket 50 or ticket 100, depends how many you have. In the end, then you're good. So go ahead, enter if you want. If you are in for this giveaway, you don't have to, because next month, the question is, should I already unveil what we're giving away next month? Because I'm afraid that people won't enter this giveaway anymore. I don't know. Okay, who's there? Inkmin want to know, I don't understand, it says I need to log in, but I'm logged into Twitch. You should be able to just send the command, right? If you just say in the Twitch chat, you're now using the Twitch chat, right? So if you just use the Twitch chat now and say exclamation mark nozzles, you will see how many nozzles you have. In the Twitch chat, right, where you are just entered this message that you just sent, right? No, not anywhere else. Exactly. So you're like, now you have 30 nozzles. You can decide whether you want to spend all of your nozzles into the giveaway or if not. And the way how it works, you earn nozzles along watching the stream. So there's no other way to earn a nozzle. It's just by watching and seeing the live stream, right? Ticket max is the command to enter. Okay, so you see how this works. And I'm gonna give you a little more time, so if you don't think I have any, been watching for a long time but I couldn't comment. I had issues with the security thing. I had to delete my other Twitch account and I was able to stop and comment. Yeah, that's the thing, like Twitch requires you to have a validated account. I guess you need to, not ticket max, it's 2 words. Ticket max or tickets max, it's two words, there's a space in between, right? Alexander. It's all good. There's a couple of people new to this. No problem. We're gonna explain this a couple more times. We have also the mods here that are going to be able to explain it. And there we go. You have entered the giveaway, and we have 8 people in the giveaway. So let's take a look. How far are we with the print? It's already laying down the first layer, looking good. Looks clean. Like the only thing that I'm not 100% sure, we're gonna wait until the print finishes or how it's gonna proceed, is I'm not 100% sure if it's the best choice to have 0.3 for the first layer, because 0.3 first layer, it could potentially be more likely to release from the build plate too early. That is my only concern. So maybe if it will make sense, if this doesn't work out for the first time, maybe we will have to set this first layer to 0.2. Just squishing it a little more. My experience is that 0.2 for the first layer is probably the perfect distance for almost any print, especially if you don't want to use a brim or something. Then this is sometimes better than going with 0.3 if you have 0.3 for the rest of the print. It could make this more difficult. But let's see. Let's wait. Probably not seeing this tonight, but I'll see it tomorrow when this is... Oh my goodness, it's actually moving fast. Not too bad for a bed slinger printer, I would say. So let's cross fingers that we have no detachment and that we also have no layer shifting or stuff. Hoping for the best. So giveaway, how are we? I would say let's give it until 11 p.m. So if more people want to come over from YouTube to Twitch, the only way how this works is on Twitch. So if you're still watching on YouTube and you want to enter the giveaway, I will give you 15 more minutes to hop over to Twitch and collect some nozzles. But I see that there is 14 people on Twitch watching and 7 people on YouTube. So just letting you know, we're going to have 15 more minutes to enter the giveaway, and then I'm going to close at 11 p.m. sharp. German time. And we saw last time, actually surprised. I was really surprised. We had a couple of people entering with a really large number of nozzles, and then we had the winner entering with, I don't know, was it 10 nozzles? Was it 5 nozzles even just? The winner, it was crazy. I was like, that was kind of super lucky, honestly. But that confirms that it's definitely a chance that you can take, right? Yes, you just collect nozzle by watching, and you can then check out how many you have. You get 5 nozzles every 10 minutes, and you just have to be watching the live stream on Twitch. So it's the only way to get them. You cannot buy them. You cannot. It's the only way how to get them is really doing live stream. It doesn't even work on the replay. So if you're like watching after the fact, it also doesn't give you any nozzles. So you really have to be live. Right. It's random, yeah. So this print is running. And I'm just looking at time. We have a couple more topics that I want to talk about. So as soon as we've done the giveaway, we'll hop into some 3D model generators powered by Generative AI. I'm excited. Yeah, collect nozzles by watching all this beautiful stuff. Yes, exactly. Every single week. That's why we call the show now your weekly dose of 3D printing. Okay, so let me open up. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna open up some pages here. Where is my login? Let me see what did I do. AI toolkit, here we go. This was my last prompt, okay. Porphyrius, you don't have a laser engraver, but you can't afford the stupid prices they have for them. Yeah, and stuff is. I imagine stuff is expensive, and I totally agree. It's very much a privilege to be sponsored by these companies to get stuff sent. That's why, yeah, basically even giving away so many things now, because there's so much that you can use, right? You can only use a couple of things that you get and test, and then the rest is it's just sitting in the corner unused, and that's why it's a shame that we should definitely give away more stuff. Printer resonates, I would say it's not so bad. I hope that I did tighten the nozzle good enough. That is hopefully I did a good job there. So this is this. Okay, finally this one. Okay, so almost ready for the next part of this little stream. So we have 8 more minutes to go before we close the giveaway. Yeah, so changing the nozzle is causing some printers to be unreliable. That very much depends on how good can you mount everything back together. And I think with these kind of nozzles that are one piece, or the Vivo system, it is definitely better and easier and less likely to have issues. That's my expectation, at least. So are we seeing any problems here with the first layer releasing? For now, I would say we're good. But yeah, I will see the result. We're gonna see the result soon. So let's wait for this part to finish. I'm gonna post some pictures tomorrow, probably. So what else? How are we looking in terms of the entrance? We have 9 people entering the giveaway so far. The print is going to finish in 3 hours roundabout, so it's quite some time still to go. Okay, so almost there. I guess there's not many more people coming to enter. But yeah, still have 5 minutes to go. Did you happen to compare time frame to a printer not as fast to see difference? Not like we did benchy test on this printer. That was done in 13 minutes, 45 seconds something. So it's good. So you can absolutely print fast on this printer, but you have to imagine that this kind of bigger size print is probably not the best to push the printer so much, because you might run into some issues with the y-axis, right? So it's definitely something that you need to consider if you want to push this printer with a bigger print. I am not so sure if this is the best. Why is my filament here not running? Filament is a little bent. Why is it bent around? What's happening here? I'll turn it once. Okay, so my spool, the spool wasn't. I think we had. I did a 180, 360 on the spool just to make it. It was kind of under stress because probably the filament was a little under stress. Now turning the spool, it is going more straight into the TTV. It looks much better now, yeah. Ten people entered the giveaway. Okay. Let me just see. Nozzle, song, tip top. Where is the command I'm looking for? Points. Here we go. I hope this works. Okay, so that's what I wanted. Because I did some tests with the point system and I don't want to see my name in the list. That's why I'm setting myself to 0. So that's good. With 3 more minutes to go, I guess then we're gonna close this. Giveaway. Yeah, almost there. People are still buying tickets. Follow me, you're very careful, right? You're entering only 5 tickets. There's a way to say you don't get points, you like exclude yourself from the points. I have to figure that out. I think I am excluded, but I have given myself points to test it, right? So now I had to basically revoke the points. I think I'm still not earning any points now. I should be excluded. So, let's see. 2 more minutes to go. The print is still doing well. At least I see no detachment yet. I hope this is going to stay as it is. I must say 0.3 millimeter nozzle diameter is already, it's like significantly, like it is really noticeable. So the layers are much wider and you can really see that. So it's actually really interesting to see the difference. At least if you look top down, you can see it very much. If you look just from the side, it's not that noticeable, but really top down, you can see the lines are much wider. It's like 50% more. Okay, so how much time do we have left? Not much. Not much. What's time? What's the time? Give me my 0. Okay, we're done. Closing the giveaway. My clock says it's exactly 11 p.m. so I close the giveaway now. And we are drawing the winner. So we have 1,680 tickets purchased. We're gonna draw the winner now, and doing it now in 3, 2, 1, go. And the winner is Spline72. Wow. Congratulations, Spline. And we're gonna close it, mark as complete. Yes, okay. And how this is going to be done, I'm gonna Spline never won anything before. My goodness, it's great. That is the best. That is the best, of course. If you never won anything, you should definitely. You can DM me on Discord. I'm going to let me just click on your username. Let me do this on Twitch. Because sometimes people have they have different usernames on Twitch and different usernames on Discord and stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just hop into the Twitch chat, and I am going to send you a whisper. That means I'm going to send you a private message on Twitch. And I'm gonna let you know, please send me your email address. So I can send you info. And that's it basically. Yeah, there's like a couple of people have weird usernames. I mean, it's historically like you go on Twitch, you register, you pick some username, then you go on Discord, you go on blah 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 platform X, and you name it. And it's sometimes people prefer to yeah, it's how it is. So I'm gonna follow up with you tomorrow in the morning, so I'm gonna send you what I need from you. Yeah, helping to keep things separate, definitely. So congratulations again, Spline, for winning. Thing is going out. And next topic that I wanna show you and I wanna talk about is AI. I was pretty excited to test this stuff out the last couple of weeks. More and more of these platforms popping up, and honestly, generative AI is probably not new to you because you've been using ChatGPT, and it's getting more popular, and it's finding its way now into search, and Microsoft is doing it for all of their programs, and Google is doing it, but it's actually not so new anymore. But what is actually more like newish, I would say, is the progress that is happening on the 3D model generation side, because that is definitely something that was very much behind in terms of the quality of the results that you could expect. And that's why I was looking into a couple of the best pages, at least, which I think are the best at the moment. and you probably could be interested to see it as well. So first thing that I'm looking at is Meshy, because that seems to be one of the best at the moment. And yeah, AI is everywhere, right? So it's like becoming more and more popular. So first thing that I tested out was Meshy, and I've just give you an example of what I tested. So not the thing that you see on the website and on the start page, things that I changed and tested. Very simply, I had this prompt here, and let's make it a little bigger. So I gave it this prompt, like a low poly rabbit sitting, there's even a typo here, on a small barrel holding up a blank sign. The rabbit is smiling, and what was the rest? I guess I think it's, why is this lost? Yeah, I think I was there was a couple more words here. So I wanted a rabbit on a barrel, I wanted to hold up a sign, and there's a stop sign and stuff, but it's a little more complex. So I wanted this not to be simply a rabbit, but some details that I wanted. And then we have the results. Probably have to zoom out a bit to show you the results. So this is the result number 1, for example. That's a rabbit sitting on a small barrel holding up a blank sign. So at least you could say this is probably a rabbit. But it doesn't have a sign. And the next one is a little different. I see my face is in the way. Let me make this a bit smaller. Okay, let's move stuff. So I think this is better now. So this is the second result, but there's still no sign, I would say. This looks a little better here, which there is at least some sign here. Like I wanted to have like a blank sign, because what I wanted is I wanted to have this rabbit holding up a sign where we can then put some letters on later. So in the post-production. Doesn't look too great. I think the best one actually is this one here. At least we have a rabbit on a little barrel and a blank sign. It's still not holding up the blank sign. It's like, but there is at least some sign. So you see the resolution is still not the best. What you can do now is to say refine. And what's happening then is that it's trying to make it a higher resolution, right? So you can take this preview and then you can dig deeper into the results. Very similar to what MindJourney can offer you if you're on Discord and on MindJourney. It is pretty impressive. So you could, on MindJourney, I think if you're subscribed, let me see where, I have too many Discord channels. Here we go. So if you're on Discord and on MindJourney, on MidJourney, you can create all of this crazy stuff here. And that's all AI generated images, right? So it's, in terms of image generation, we are already so far, and it's so crazy what you can do. Like, just look at these images, right? This is AI generated content. This is not pictures. It's not taken by a camera. That is AI generated. And so we are pretty far in terms of image generation. But 3D model generation is still like, has to catch up a lot, I guess. But you see, it is almost, sometimes it's completely indistinguishable from a real picture. It's crazy. Right? You won't be able to tell even today, if you show this to your friend, grandma, whatever, people who've not been exposed to AI so much, they won't be able to tell the difference. It's impossible, honestly. You would have to know what to look for to really realize what is actually real and not real. So it's really crazy. And you see this person here, you see the history of people sending stuff and refining. You see the person has created this and then sent refine, so like redo it or pick one and then make 4 other alternative versions. And then they did this again, clicked on one of these buttons here, and it created 4 more versions of like alternative versions and stuff. And That's how it goes, right? It's super crazy. And you see the prompts. You could now go and try this and modify it and stuff. So that's what happens for picture generation. It's already pretty amazing. And for 3D model generation, it is catching up. So the refining of this model is now happening in real time, 99%. And don't expect super crazy things to happen here. Like, it is just refining the stuff. And I totally agree that artwork, people who make art, who make pictures or draw pictures, artists, are very much in a bad spot now, because they might be replaced by AI. That's totally true. It's a controversial topic. Definitely, a lot of people will have to figure out, if I don't want to be replaced by AI, that's how, like, it's. I think you have heard this before, and it's probably like something that has been said a lot of times. But you're not going to be replaced by AI, but you're going to be replaced by a person that uses AI. That's the truth. And we probably need some, or we definitely need some kind of watermarking system that, my opinion is that AI generated content, it's not only about that if you send something to social media that is AI generated, that you need to check and say, hey, this is AI generated. There needs to be some system in place that watermarks AI generated content, so a system can detect that this is generated content, and we can have rules that either we don't want to see AI generated content, or we want to I don't know, we want to filter out specific types of generated content, whatever. Actually, the result is interesting, because I wanted a low poly rabbit. And first of all, I got it wasn't actually so low poly. And now we got a low poly rabbit, right? So this is what we got. Interesting result. But actually, it's what I wanted, right? I wanted a low poly. I explicitly said I want a low poly rabbit. I don't want a high res rabbit, but the result is it's high resolution, low poly. So we can try something else now. We can try. Let's try again something else. Let's prompt. What do you want to see? Let me know in the chat. What do we want to see? So throw some stuff in the chat. But not only one word, but maybe like we're gonna figure it out how the prompt is going to look like. A pig riding a motorcycle. Okay. So let's do that. That sounds great. Pig riding motorcycle. Okay, so let's send the art style. We can select realistic, cartoon, sculpture, low poly. Probably want to do realistic, maybe. Let's do realistic. Generate. Okay, so it's starting the process now. This is the first preview, and let's see what comes out here. We can also run a second one. A dog sign writing a sign that says Ben Hammer. A dog sign writing a sign that says Ben Hammer. What is that? A dog sign writing a sign that says Ben Hammer. Writing a sign. How can a sign write a sign? Okay, so the preview is almost done. Let's see. The printer is, by the way, still doing a fairly good job. I would say still have, at least nothing is releasing. So I'm not 100% sure about the front corner here, but still looking fairly well. Still, I think for the rest of the prints, I will definitely make the first layer thinner. So 0.2, just to be sure. Okay, so we have a couple of things here. We have some motorcycles where there's no pig, but we definitely have a motorcycle pig or pig riding a motorcycle. That looks like more like a motorcycle pig or pig motorcycle. This looks more like, I think this is very close, at least it's closer. Pig cycle, yeah, this is more the pig cycle. This is more like, this is maybe more the pig riding the motorcycle, but it's, I'm curious. Let's refine this one. This is so much fun. And we should probably try to print this at some point, right? I love the nose, yeah. It's funny. It's actually quite funny. There's also a couple of other tools that are very similar. For example, Tripo. So if we send the same prompt to this program, we can also check out what is going to happen. Tripo is Tripo 3D. Is basically doing a very same thing. By the way, if you wanted to have these links, just gonna put them in the video description after the fact so you can have them. And then we have, last but not least, we have Luma. This is a little different. I'm gonna explain to you how it's different. And then we have also the Maker World AI scanner, which is also something that is more like, these are more like 3D scanning tools where you can take a video and then make it into a 3D object, which is more like photogrammetry, which you probably have already seen before. This is also very similar. It's more like a photogrammetry approach. So you are actually photographing the thing that you want to make a 3D thing. And this is the AI way to do it. And look at that. That looks already, oh my goodness, I'm impressed, honestly. This is, oh my goodness, this is yeah, this is impressive. I'm curious to see the result from Meshi. I mean, but this is like, wow, the realism of this is, whoa, crazy. Let's take a look at this one here. And it's not yet the refined version, right? It's just a preview. Oh yeah, okay, we have the handles missing, but wow, that's gonna be difficult. Naked pig? Oh, that pig doesn't have hands, but maybe in the refined version, naked pig. Okay. And this looks funny actually. This is why is it so small? Okay, this is clearly the worst. I don't know why this is such an outlier, but maybe the parameters have been. But which one is actually the best here? Good, love it with the leather jacket. The leather jacket is really the killer, right? Is this the leather version? No, I think this is just jeans jacket, jeans, and this is the leather jacket. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is amazing, right? So I'm curious, like, there is maybe some issues here, but the leg is missing here. But let's just refine this. Is it doing something? Where is it? Is it happening in my account? I don't know. Where is it happening? My models here, maybe? Here. Completing in 8 minutes. Okay, this takes some time. And our little pig riding is also taking a little more time. It's almost done. But I guess it's gonna take a couple more minutes. And yeah, curious. But you see, this is like, I tried this 1 year ago, when, a little more than 1 year ago, when ChatGPT was released, like around about the same time when ChatGPT was public for the first time. There was also, very short after, there was a couple of these 3D model generators, and it was terrible. Right? It was like unrecognizable stuff coming out of that, unless you were picking a very specific prompt that was probably kind of pre-trained, which gave you some kind of reasonable results, but it's getting better. And it's definitely getting better now. It's crazy. The leather jacket pick is, my goodness. Printed. Yeah, we should print it. I'm just want to wait the 2 versions. It's taking a while. And this one is looking actually quite cute. Although it's not that realistic, it's not comparable to the other one. But maybe just another prompt here will do a better job. I think this one, if we just add some more realism prompts, specifically like asking for more realistic results, it's gonna also hopefully get in a little more realistic. Let's take a look at some results that have, I mean, look at this, right? It is very much depending on the prompt itself, like high detailed, blah, blah, blah. So you have to use these attributes. We didn't play around with that yet. But if you apply more specific attributes, then you will also get better results, right? So look at this. I mean, this is definitely different and much higher quality, right? So this is interesting. And this stuff can definitely you can definitely print this, right? This is, for example, this is impressive. And the prompt for that is not that very specific. I don't know why it's so detailed. Maybe we're gonna get something more detailed one. Let's see. Maybe this is actually our pick is finished. Let's see. What do we get? I'm not so happy, honestly. We have, I don't know, the pick is somehow merged into the bicycle. So that would need some work, I guess. But still, we can, it's a good start, right? So it's not too bad. What do we get here? This is finished already. Okay, that was fast. Okay, so that didn't change too much actually. So the preview was already unveiling the problems. I think the leg is supposed to be somewhere here, and the foot is here. But yeah, it's weirdly shaped. This is actually better, but still that's kind of squished here. And let's see if we just do, can we disable the mesh somehow? Because then you're gonna see the more like the actual 3D model. Let me see. Custom retoppable format. Can we disable the color? Just get a gray version here? Probably not. Rig it. I mean, this doesn't make sense for this. See, I can probably export it and then we can get it as an object file or something. Let's see it, but because then you're gonna see the real detail. Handlebars missing, yeah. So maybe go back one step and check out. Yes. So did the first version have a better rigging? But there was also no connection. Like this was the one that we took. Was there any one version better in regards of the handlebars? I don't think so, right? This is also disconnected somehow. But the feet are better, right? So it's in a way more correctly shaped. Let's see what we get in terms of the actual slicing or the actual 3D file, because you can be tricked and fooled by the colorization or the mesh that's covered basically by the graphic. Let's see how it actually looks just as the model file, because that's going to tell you how good it is actually. So can we disable the shade here? This is the actual 3D model, the grid. So you see this is what you're actually getting, right? So the rest is just texture. And this is the underlying 3D model. So that looks still like very much blobby and right. So as soon as you colorize it and to put the texture over it, it looks very much better. But you are tricked into believing, hey, this is actually looking very realistic, whereas like the real underlying thing is, yeah. This is, if you would model this yourself, it is very much simplistic still. You see that? Poor Biggie, yeah, exactly. So this is the real model behind that. So you see, that is what you can currently expect. Now, one last thing that I want to show you, which is also impressive. We want to take some kind of image. Let's pick something from Google. Doesn't matter. So let's say we're going to take, I don't know, let's take a motorcycle. Just because we were using this. And let's take any kind of random motorcycle. I don't care. Maybe something that is, yeah, let's take this one here maybe. Actually, I just want something to download. So, is this an image that we can save? Yes. So, we're gonna take this image, and this is also quite impressive. We're gonna take this image and we are gonna throw it into this Hugging Face page, which is using a model that's called Instant Mesh. So we're gonna upload this picture, and this AI model is taking an image and it's trying to make a 3D model from the image. So it's not prompted by using words, but it's more, it's basically prompted by the image. So it's trying to figure out what could be the other side of the thing looking like, and taking that information and trying to make a 3D model out of that. And first step is removing the background, so you see the shadow is gone in the first step, and then the next step is going to be generating the 3D model. And it's actually pretty fast. So we'll see what comes out from here. So you see, this is the imagination of how this motorcycle might look from behind, right? It gives you different images, and then it is it's giving you the model. So it takes a few seconds to load, and that's the model file. I'm not sure if it's gonna be highest resolution, but this is what you're getting, right? So this is created from the image, and you see this was super fast. So it was like just a couple of seconds to create this, and we just had as an input this motorcycle picture. Right. So even though it is also not super high like resolution and detail here. This is just a preview file, but just imagine how fast this was, and we only had this image. So it's a different approach. It's still working. And from here, my imagination is it's only going to become better. There's no way back. Yeah. Last but not least, I want to show you something that is a little different in terms of the approach. So if you want to do photogrammetry, like I've shown you this on the channel already. I had a couple of videos about this. So basically what you do is you take dozens of pictures from all of kind of different positions from something that you want to scan. And then you run it through a program that is a photogrammetry software, and it does triangulate all of the points and creates an image. It creates a 3D model from this. And this is what is happening here with these two different websites. They basically do the same thing. They take images from a video or a series of pictures, and then they use photogrammetry essentially to create a 3D asset from this. And then you can basically just walk around the thing, and it's very similar to what you get from Meshroom. So in a way that isn't so much AI-ish. It's more like photogrammetry, and there's AI methods that can improve this result. So there is definitely AI that can help with photogrammetry now, that's improving the speed of photogrammetry, and sometimes it can even imagine things that haven't been there. But it is still relies on the original pictures that you give the system, or the video that you give the system, right? And then you can walk around. But the thing is, you have to be able to walk around the thing that you actually want to convert into something. And that's why I say, here you see the process here. It's demonstrated very much what you know already probably from the photogrammetry approach. And what you can do with AI is you can take the first, let's say, iteration of the photogrammetry result and then refine the result with AI and have the AI basically imagine what the high detail version of the thing should look like, right? So it's very much the same. And this is available through Maker World. It's just from Bamboo Labs website for, I think it's for free actually. It doesn't require you to pay. And this here, I guess there's also some kind of free version of this available. So, but this is where you need access to the real world data, and you need access to the images, right? Yeah, let me know if you have any more ideas or any more websites that you know which are doing the same thing or something similar. Because I'm always interested to test out the new stuff, and we'll definitely want to print something like this. So what we could do is we could print a pic. I think I actually like this one more. Maybe you should actually this. Not sure if I like this one more or this one. We could probably also do the piggy cycle and print that. What's the new giveaway? You're curious, right? Okay, so let me tell you about the new giveaway. Just 1 second. Call it Peppa Pig Kids Ride. Yeah, we wanna definitely print this out. Piggy cycle. Yeah, let me see the refined version of this. So next giveaway, where is it? I think I just, yeah, exactly here. We have it here. So the next giveaway is, can you see this now? Okay. Next up, Ender 3 V3KE. So for June, we have the Ender 3 V3KE as the giveaway. and I will have to create a new giveaway page and release it. Probably doing this tomorrow. But yeah, we're up for a new printer next month, so pretty excited about that. So what there is with this printer is very much stock configuration. I probably install the latest firmware and also install the Klipper upgrade, so that's already done. And then, I mean, it runs Klipper already, but I'm gonna install the additional tools. And then I think the one add-on that I still have for shipping, I will have to remove, but putting it into the box still is going to be the LED bar, because that's gonna be something super useful. I think it's very nice to have this kind of light. ABL? What do you mean with ABL? This printer here has auto bed leveling. Yeah, sure, for sure. It has actually it's identical to the Ender 3 V3. So these are very much identical printers in terms of features, right? So these printers have auto bed leveling. They have a distance sensor. They have a they have a beer touch sensor for like the mesh bed leveling. And then it also has this additional sensor here in the front left corner for measuring gauge sensor or gauge probe, or how you call this, the pressure sensor to measure the first layer distance, right? So it's going to be printing and calibrating for the first layer completely on its own. So it's like exactly the same as the Ender 3 V3. So from that perspective, these printers are 100% identical. It doesn't have the unicorn nozzles. It still uses the K1 nozzles, but they are more, I would say, first of all, the nozzles for this printer are cheaper. There's already third-party manufacturers creating nozzles for the K1s. So K1 nozzles work on the Ender 3 V3KE. And I'm going to throw in this kit here. So there's a couple more replacement nozzles that I'm going to throw into the pack, so you have some replacement and bigger nozzles with the printer. What else? It has a filament sensor. It has the sprite extruder. It has linear rails on all the axis, dual Z drive, touchscreen. Yeah, that's it basically. But it is like from technically, it's very similar to the Ender 3 V3, with the exception like it doesn't have this core XZ mechanism, but it's still running Klipper, and it's also very fast. So I think it's still a very good printer. It's not like the Ender 3 V3 is so much better. It is. What it doesn't have is it doesn't have a vibration calibration sensor integrated, but it has an external vibration calibration. So the ADXL sensor port, you can plug in an external sensor into the USB port, but there is no mount for it. So you have to. Basically, if you want to use that, you can print a mount for this printer and attach this sensor while you're doing the calibration. But that's what makes it different in ways like for the Ender 3 V3, that sensor is integrated into the tool head and also into the bed. And for this printer, it's not. It's an external device that is connected via USB, right? So that are the main differences. So, yeah, again, I have to create a new giveaway. And then let me see. I think I have the vibration sensor somewhere. Do I have it? I think it was. I think I have it. It's gonna be part of this giveaway. So I'm gonna put everything that is part of the giveaway. We're gonna list it up into the giveaway so you know what you're getting. I think this is one of the more exciting things now this year, and there's more stuff coming for the next month. Don't forget to switch to a brass revo and also from an obsidian revo. Yeah, the sensor is super cheap. Yeah, so it's quite cheap. Again, I guess for today, what I wanted to talk about, I've shown you. We did take a look at a couple of these 3D generators, AI. Definitely worth trying out, so I'm gonna link them in the video description. Here we go with the piggy. This is the piggy bike. That's like actually more like the pig, a bike as a pig or a pig as a bike. I think this one looks more like cute, but it's probably just because of the colors, right? Actually, if you would replace the colors on this one, it wouldn't be looking that scary. How was this one? I think probably want to give another try then to this one, maybe with more explicit details, so it doesn't forget to connect the arms to the motorcycle handles and stuff. So this, what was this actually better? No, it's same problem here, same problem. So I guess that you need to give more detail to get better results in the end. Give your bike a hawk, yeah. So this is something we could try to print. Makes a lot of sense to me. Some fun stuff. And these motorcycles also look not too bad actually. So I'm still impressed. I'm still like we are very much behind what you can do with Midjourney. Again, these kind of images look so realistic. It's crazy. I think I did a couple of tests with the Midjourney bot myself. Also like uploaded a picture and tried to make it like make a variation of this. This didn't work out, but there was like trying out different arts like nozzles and stuff and Superman, and these are some of my tries. It's definitely worth taking a look if you're interested in this, because it's very impressive. In the end, you just don't understand how this actually can work. Like it's crazy. It's and still imagining that this is just the beginning and it's only getting better is what makes it even harder to understand. So let's see. And we have still Sora coming up from OpenAI, which means creating videos with AI is also coming. So like it's intriguing and terrifying, because there's so much energy behind that in terms of like it's so much potential. If you use it and you're kind of put it into your daily workflow, it is very powerful. But also if you're the person who usually creates that kind of stuff like by hand, it can be terrifying. Absolutely. And coding, for example, I tried coding with CodePilot, which is integrated in Visual Studio, which basically helps you to code, and you just ask it questions, say, I want to program this, I want to use this API and stuff like that. And it gives you detailed instructions, gives you sample code. You can even instruct it to write everything for you, and then you can test it out and say, hey, there's a bug here, there's a bug there, and it's crazy. It's already so good that, yeah, again, I think the best way to describe it is creative people. That I would kind of disagree and agree, right? So it's people are going to like lose jobs, but this is already happening. But on the other hand, there's always going to be people using AI that's going to probably replace these people, right? Or some people are going to, like, the ratio of people using the AI versus the ratio of people not using the AI is going to be different. So there's going to be like a few people using AI replacing a couple of people using not using AI. So that's the truth. That's absolutely going to happen. And I have customers that, like in my job at AWS, I know some companies where in marketing, for example, there has been some jobs have been reduced because they realized the future is so unclear that they don't hire anymore, and they are actually reducing the workforce. People are losing their jobs because the company thinks that AI will definitely help them to replace these people, and that's happening, right? That's the truth. But on the other hand, we have a massive problem in Germany. That's the crazy reality is we have a massive problem in our country, at least, that we have so many open jobs where we don't find people. There's a huge gap, right? So it is super hard. For example, it's crazy how hard it is in Germany to find a painter, right? To get someone to paint a house or something. It has become so crazy, right? It's super difficult. I'm just looking for a person to paint a house and to renovate, and it is. Everyone tells me we don't have young people coming who want to learn this. Everyone just wants to sit in front of a computer. No one actually wants to do the work, right? So it's crazy, right? My personal take on this, and this is of course off topic, but my take is that once we get a huge flood of people losing their jobs in these like creative jobs and computer only jobs, people are only sitting in front of a PC. We will see that probably, hopefully, that these kind of jobs in terms of, okay, painters and stuff like that, plumbers, hopefully some people will rethink about this and maybe learn that and realize that there is a huge demand and they can actually earn some reasonable money, because it is not only that you can't find a painter currently that is painting your house, but if you can find one, it's also super expensive. So these people are making reasonable money. It's not that they are cheap, right? That has also changed. I don't know. Yeah, some people will probably become more creative, but again, supply and demand, yeah. Question is, yeah, I mean, who's saying this? I think the CEO of NVIDIA said, don't tell your children that they should learn programming. It is a very extreme opinion, right? So it's like, that is very controversial. But on the other hand, it might be true. It might be absolutely true. It might be that we don't need to have so many developers anymore. It doesn't mean that we don't need no developers, but it means it's not a safe thing anymore to become a developer. It doesn't mean that you have a job and that you're highly paid. It just means that probably there's more people on the market and you can earn less money, and to find a job is harder, and probably you would think twice if you really want to go that path. That's the reality. But yeah, again, off topic. Interesting stuff. But that's what's driving me. Like that's what's I'm thinking about in my other job, so to say. These kind of questions that I'm trying to answer from customers and stuff. So with that, I want to thank you for coming to the stream. It's almost midnight in Germany, and time for me to say goodbye. We're gonna meet again in 2 weeks. So next week I'm offline and not going to stream next week. Robots replacing Plumbers, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Let's see. See you in 2 weeks. Have a good time until then and have fun trying out these interesting tools. Links are going to be in the description of the YouTube video tomorrow. So if you check back when when the replay goes live, you're gonna have the links. And bye bye. See you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for following on Twitch, folks.